there gamers, and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be covering the fastest and most efficient methods to complete your Starpath playthrough. These tips are designed to save you not only time, but also precious materials as well. Now of course, Starpaths are a lot easier than they were just a few seasons ago, as everything with the exception of routine duties can all be completed in just one day. Though with these tips, you'll have the knowledge and tools needed to complete your Starpaths in just 2 or 3 hours. Before we get started, I'd like to mention that I'm a small full-time content creator, so every like on this video can make a tremendous difference for me. Consider subscribing for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. If you would like to catch more of my content, you can find me live on Twitch Monday through Friday. Links to both my Twitch channel and Discord server can be found in the video description down below. And with that out of the way, let's get started. Our first tip in the video will focus specifically on Starpath duties that require you to obtain Dreamlight. For example, the current Wishful Thinking Starpath has 3 Dreamlight related duties. One that requires you to collect 5,000 Dreamlight, one for 7,500, and finally one that requires you to collect a total of 10,000 Dreamlight. Of course, if you were to simply focus on completing Dreamlight duties to reach these objectives, these tasks could take quite some time, and in some cases up to an hour or more. Luckily, there are 2 great alternative methods you can use to complete these tasks in mere seconds. The first method would be simply using Dream Shards to craft the Dreamlight, as you'll only need about 200 Dream Shards to produce around 5,000 Dreamlight at any crafting station. But what if you don't have the Dream Shards on hand? Or you simply don't want to waste them? Our second method is my personal favorite. For this, we'll be using the uncrafting station. When starting your Starpath, simply place an uncrafting station and set it to uncraft a few large gold chests. For each gold chest you uncraft, you'll receive a total of 5,000 Dreamlight. Best of all, the uncrafting station now only requires star coins to use rather than Dreamlight, so the cost to use this method is very low. If you don't have the large gold chest, I'd recommend crafting a few just to use for this tip. After all, you'll be getting all of those resources back. Just be sure to do this before the Dreamlight task shows up, as it does take about 11 minutes or so for the uncrafting station to work its magic on these large chests. So when using this method, it's best to plan ahead. Our second tip of the video is rather short and simple. Make sure you always have the well-fed bonus. This bonus can be obtained by eating cooked meals until your energy bar is golden. The reason this is so important is because it allows for critical events to occur. These critical events can spawn extra minerals, fish, forageables, and more. Best of all, the items collected with these critical events will apply to your Starpath duties, allowing you to finish some of these duties in just a few seconds. For our third tip, we'll briefly touch on Nightthorn duties. If you're like me, you probably don't like having a load of Nightthorns in your valley. If this is the case, you may be stuck waiting for Nightthorns to spawn in your valley before you can complete these tasks. Thankfully, Splinters of Fate in Eternity Isle and Inkies in Storybook Vale also count for this duty. So if you don't have any Nightthorns lying around, try heading to a DLC region instead. And since this tip was rather short, we'll throw in a bonus tip. For Starpath duties that require you to collect things like specific flowers or shellfish, such as clams or oysters, don't bother wasting your time running around the valley picking up these items. Instead, head to your storage, grab a stack of the item, drop them, and pick them back up. This will allow you to complete these particular duties without the need to run around the valley, spending minutes or hours foraging. Now let's move on to mining duties. Throughout the Starpath, you'll encounter several duties that require you to obtain specific mining resources, which could take a while if you simply mine basic nodes without proper buffs. The best way to complete these tasks quickly is by using a combination of both potions and strategy. In both the Valley and DLC areas, each biome will typically have a marked node when you first log in for the day. If you save these marked nodes for specific duties and use a potion when mining, you can ensure that every swing of your pickaxe gives you the exact mineral you're seeking, saving you time and energy, as opposed to running around and mining until you get lucky. Don't forget to use your collections tab in the menu if you're unsure about where the minerals you're seeking can spawn. Of course, the duties that require you to mine shinies can take a lot longer. The best advice I can offer for mining shinies would be to utilize the well-fed bonus for critical events, and of course use potion on any of the marked nodes. Another very common set of Starpath tasks are the numerous fishing tasks. When completing modern Starpaths, you'll usually be required to catch around 10 fish from 7 of the valley's biomes, as well as some tasks that require you to catch seafood. Now these tasks are pretty straightforward, but there are a few ways we can work through them faster. The best way to work through these fishing tasks is to familiarize yourself with what each of the fishing spots in each biome can yield. For example, if your goal is to catch fish in the glade, gold and blue circles will not be too helpful, considering they mostly spawn seafood instead of fish. Knowing which circles to target is the fastest way to ensure you complete the duty quickly. Alternatively, for many fishing duties, you could simply fish in the open water. Just keep in mind you'll have a 50-50 chance for either basic fish or seaweed, and unfortunately, seaweed does not count towards any current Starpath duties. So if you have bad luck, this could take a while. As far as tasks that require you to catch seafood, I recommend using a fishing potion and using it to catch lobster from the glade, prism shrimp from the wild tingle, and sorcerer crabs from the bind. Next up, we'll be discussing memory-related tasks. Fortunately, the Wishful Thinking Starpath only has one memory-related task. However, this task does require players to collect 10 memories, which could take quite some time if you complete it organically. What I typically do for this task is plan ahead. Before a new Starpath is released, head to either a floating island or an empty room, set up a stove, and use it to speed cook crackers. Simply toggle between the button to add the wheat to the pot and the button to cook. If done quickly, you can cook hundreds of crackers in mere minutes, gaining loads of memories in the process. Once this is done, you can either leave the memories where they are and collect them during your Starpath, or send them to your pockets by resetting the room or floating island in your furniture mode. If you choose the latter, you'll be able to store the memories in a chest, and even drop them as decor in your future Dreamsnap builds. Either way, loading yourself up with memories beforehand is a great way to trivialize a task that would usually take quite a while. For our next tip, we'll cover gardening tasks. Usually within Starpaths, there will be 2 to 4 duties that require you to harvest specific crops such as cotton or potatoes. The best way to approach these tasks is to craft the Miracle Growth Potion and enchant your watering can before planting and watering your crops. When watering crops with Miracle Growth, the crops will immediately be ready for harvesting, bypassing the usual growth time. Just keep in mind that if it's raining, you will not be able to use this method, as the crops will be watered by the rain the moment they are planted. Alternatively, you could plan ahead for this task if you have a large garden somewhere in your valley, floating islands, or DLC regions. If you want to use this method, I'd recommend planting a minimum of 15 to 20 of each valley crop. Keep in mind, DLC crops won't be necessary for this method as they're never required for Starpath duties, since not all players own the various expansions. Now let's talk about restaurant tasks. Of course, these tasks have been greatly reduced in our current Starpath lineups. In fact, the only restaurant-related task in the Wishful Thinking Starpath will likely only appear in the weekly routine duties. That said, this could change with future Starpaths. The best advice I can give on tasks that require feeding villagers in restaurants is to be mindful of the time of day. Just like in the real world, restaurants are busiest between the hours of 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. and the hours of 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. So if you're planning on feeding several villagers in the restaurants, it's best to focus on completing this task between those time frames. If that's not an option, just feed the villagers that are available and be sure to check back on the hour. Each hour in the real world can see the villagers dining within the restaurants to rotate in and out. Aside from feeding villagers, there is another food-related Starpath duty that appears far more often: the cooking duties. Thankfully, these duties can all be completed rather quickly. Simply make sure you have the post-cooking animation turned off and use a recipe autofill to fly through these cooking duties. Alternatively, you could plan ahead for these duties by using the ancient cooking machine or the slow cooker. Simply stage a few cooking stations with 5-star meals from each of the 3 major categories: appetizers, entrees, and desserts. Even if the cooking machines were preloaded before you started the Starpath, removing the meals from the cooking machine will count towards the tasks, allowing you to skip the cooking step entirely. Best of all, the 5-star meals you cook will count for any of the lower star meals needed for the duties, giving them great coverage for any potential cooking duty. And finally, moving into our last Starpath tip, we're going to cover royal duties. These are rather common Starpath tasks that require players to complete Dreamlight duties, and they gradually get more and more demanding as the Starpath progresses. The best way to approach these tasks is to simply ignore them until you have several present at once. Doing so will allow each Dreamlight duty, Eternity Isle duty, or Storybook Veil duty to count towards all the active Royal Task Starpath duties. Also consider you can leave completed Dreamlight duties pending instead of collecting them. This way you can stage several completed Dreamlight duties while working through your Starpath, holding on to them and claiming them at a point where the benefit is maximized. Just keep in mind, unclaimed Starpath duties will disappear when your Dreamlight duties refresh the next day. With that, we've covered all 10 of my Starpath progression tips. Of course, throughout this video, it's likely become clear that a big part of rapid Starpath progression is simply planning ahead. Making sure you have abundant resources on hand for potions, cooked meals, and other beneficial items is a big part of ensuring you can complete your Starpath in just a couple of hours, as opposed to a couple of weeks. Well, that is except for the routine duties, which unlock each week. If you have any questions regarding Starpath progression or Starpath duties that we did not cover here, feel free to let me know in the comments below. If you found today's video helpful, informative, or simply entertaining, please do me a very big favor and press that like button. Also, consider subscribing for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. If you're interested in seeing me speedrun my own Starpath, you're in luck. I recorded my entire playthrough of the Wishful Thinking Starpath when the update released this past Wednesday. It only took about 2.5 hours, mostly because I got a little unlucky on shiny gems. I plan on uploading the footage from the live stream sometime within the next couple of days. And of course, if you'd like to watch playthroughs like this live as they happen, consider joining our Twitch community. Not only do I stream a lot of Dreamlight Valley, I also host weekly Dreamsnap community reviews, where I provide advice and critiques for our community's Dreamsnaps. If that sounds like something you'd like to be a part of, consider joining our Twitch community. You can find a link to my Twitch channel and Discord server in the video description down below. As always, thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the future of Disney Dreamlight Valley.